I recommend to our young people that, first of all, that they compete in something that means a lot to them. And secondly, that they have a plan. Now, I don't know what the plan would be. I know what our plan is. I wouldn't tell you if I thought it was real good. I'd keep it to myself. But I highly recommend to ours that they have a plan. And in their plan, that they surround themselves by people or tired of people that their endeavor means a whole lot to. Just like in football. I want everybody around me for it to mean a lot to them. And then you say, well, how can you have fear and confidence at the same time? Well, to me, that goes back to the teamwork and having confidence in your teammates, the people that you're surrounded with. And if you have supreme confidence in them, I think you can have that fear and still be confident. And then I tell ours, and I believe I'd recommend you tell yours when they compete in this 70s, that there's no substitute for discipline. It's old-fashioned.
We got a small scrap of paper that's probably been released to the governor or mayor or the president or like that night.
But I think it's due for completion next year. And I'm going to New York tomorrow, as a matter of fact, not for that, but to get to Hershey, Pennsylvania, really.
On the bowl matter, Coach, the word's coming out now that the Big Eight turned the Cotton Bowl down. Who's ducking who? You got any thoughts on that?
I don't know about any of that. The only thing I can say is the Big Eight wanted to play us, why didn't they invite us to the Orange Bowl? And, of course, sure, I know that the Big Eight turned the Cotton Bowl down, and I know that the Big Ten had the Orange Bowl sold up. We didn't have a chance to go there, and I have no apology for our decision because our players wanted to go if we could play someone and we had a chance to move up, someone over our head. If we didn't, they wanted to play in the Dome in New Orleans, and when we didn't have a chance to go play someone over our head, we wanted to go to New Orleans. We certainly have no apologies to make about recommending Penn State. And of course, all we could do is recommend them. And I'm happy they got them because, first of all, it's an Eastern team, and we've played them before. We've played them once since we've been here, and they beat us in Philadelphia. We started the Liberty Bowl with them, as a matter of fact. And we're starting a series with them in the near future, a long series, home and home, and I think it'd be good for us.
One other question, Coach. You could sit down and almost make a case with a few ifs, ands, and buts that Alabama could get back into the national championship picture.
I think that's very possible. I certainly do. But we can't get into anything unless we beat Auburn.
That's good enough for me.
I'm concerned about all phases of the game, because a big game like this, anything can happen, and Gargis has started being the type player that is expecting, and of course Bumgarner comes in there and moves the ball too.
I think if Auburn can play offense, control the football, move the football, score some points offensively, like I thought we would be able to prior to the season. If we could do that, if we could live up to expectations one time this year for a full 60 minutes, not just spasmodically like we did against Florida State or Kentucky or the Tech game that I mentioned, a lick here and a lick there. But if we can do that, accomplish the things I'm talking about on offense for the full 60 minutes, possession of the football, moving the football, scoring some points, staying away from pass interceptions, staying away from fumbles or turnovers in general. Now, if we can do that offensively, and if we can play the best football game that we played all year on defense,
Plan to try to throw screen and draw on them. We didn't feel like that our small line, and we weren't quick this year either, and we've been crippled that we could really penetrate their big defensive front, and we felt like that we had to drive them back, screen, draw to slow them down, and then throw on them. And if we did that well enough, well, then we would loosen them up, and then we possibly could run on them. And our plan was to try to run really on passing downs and pass on running downs. And I really think late in the game, or our last 20 minutes or so, we did that pretty well. But the first half, we got away from our plan. We wasted too many plays.
Would you say that this is one of your most disappointing losses?
Yeah, I certainly would. They're all disappointing, but this is one of the most disappointing because I know we're better offensively than we showed. I think we played well defensively, and there again, the kicking game is where you start, and where you start with your coaching. And we gave them 2 cheap ones on the kicking game, and I'm not being critical of any player, because I say that's where you start with your coaching. If you coach them well enough, why, I won't do those. We fumbled a punt, gave them a cheap one, and then we have them stopped and gave them another cheap one by being offside. And outside of that, I think our defense did pretty well. I know they did exceptionally well in the second half when we really needed it. They gave the offense the ball enough to win. Well, I wanted it badly, but not personally. Heck, I've been everywhere. I've had everything. I wanted these kids, particularly the seniors who've been there, that would, had a chance at it 3 times and twice before. So sure, I wanted, but I wanted for Alabama and the players. As far as me is concerned, personally, it didn't mean all that much.
Coach, do you have?
Oh, I'd rather beat Auburn.
Do you have any explanations as to why the offense was flat?
Well, I don't say that they were flat. I think 2 things. I think Notre Dame, and I think we tried to give them too much help from the bench.
You got away from
criticizing myself now instead of putting them out there and leaving them alone, let them do what our game plan, and we did that pretty well the second half, but we didn't stick to our game plan the first half. We wasted too many plays is what I'm trying to say, and we have let them have too many big defensive plays, but just some little one-man deal instead of having 11 men doing their job.
Ball bounced bad a lot of times. I can't remember this many just, breaks that just happened to go the other way.
Well, I think you make your breaks. We dropped some passes that I don't think they made happen, and we quit running under a couple and dive for them. We kept going. We could run right under them, but that's coaching. That's not a lack of coaching.
What does the team do now, and what do you do, Coach, next few days?
Well, I have some personal plans, and I don't care to talk about. I'm going to somehow go to autograph a couple of books tomorrow and the next day, really, and then probably go to the National Coaches Convention in Washington. I won't be very enthusiastic, I can assure you. And the team, I think classes started back the 7th, and they can do whatever they want to do. I doubt if we have more than 2 winning players on the offensive line right now, but we have some 29 practices before our first game, and if they work at it hard enough, why, they could do an awful lot of improving in that time, and a lot of maturing also. The biggest disappointment I've had in the spring really has been in our passing, and that part of that could be, of course, attributed to the fact that our leading receivers been out with injuries most of the spring, or at least part of the spring. I think Richard Todd has done an excellent job of passing, but not as consistent as he's got to be. And the other thing that I'm so disappointed in is new development of new down linemen defensively. As now we only have 1 winner and possibly 2. And then of course the other thing that's disappointing to me is that we have some people that maybe not as good as they ought to be, or not playing as well as they used to, or not competing against a man in a position as he should, which to me is, of course, a lack of pride. Different conferences talked and organized to where they're going to do something. They're not going to accept certain things.
Is that the only one thing you think that'll make them go out?
Phil, I don't know. I think that when I said big schools, I mean to draw big crowds, football schools. I think they all feel that we need a reorganization, that in Division I, for instance, that we should have about 3 divisions out of Division I. And most conferences, the haves and the have-nots can't agree. But just say Division I. A lot of people in there are in real bad shape financially. A lot of draw real small crowds, and they want to pull everybody down to them, and it's not going to work that way, because, and I don't think the NCAA would be for that, because they got to live off of the bowls and TV money, and if they wasn't getting the bowls and TV money, I don't know, Charlie, they'd build a new building out there and all that. I don't know. So I don't think that'll happen. I don't know what'll happen, but I think they'll stick with the bowls and TV people. It's going to work with other people till they get in condition. We'll be practicing twice a day for approximately 8 days. That's what I'd normally like to do if we can. We practice at 9 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon. That could vary depending on the heat, but that's where we'll start out. And, well, I don't know. We have 8 players that we're going to discipline for conduct last spring that we think is detrimental to having a winning football program. And we've been a long time in making this decision, and really and truly the big reason is the fact that it's very difficult for me to find a way to discipline these people that might help them, and at the same time not hurt the team. I want to repeat that, to try to help them and at the same time not hurt the team. Arnie Cockendaw and Joey Bolton will not be a part of the team this year. They have been assigned to work at the Veterans Hospital 4 nights a week. And if they do that with enthusiasm and help the people that they're working with, it'll certainly help them, and they can help other people by example. We will take them back in the spring. Leroy Cook, Wayne Rhodes, Johnny Gunnels, John LeBouf, Conley Duncan, and Bob Davis have been assigned to work at the Veterans Hospital 3 nights a week. There again, if they do it with enthusiasm and trying to help those people, which in turn will help them and help the others that are around by example, they will be permitted to play. They will be part of the team from the beginning. We will not count on them until they've shown me that beyond a reasonable doubt that they're going to do what they say they will.
Can I ask a question that some folks have asked me, Coach? Like the 8-man line that you saw quite a bit in the game. People say, why can't we throw over the middle on the 8-man line and that sort of thing?
Well, one thing, it's pretty hard to throw when you're sitting down. And then every time one of the quarterbacks cocked his arm, somebody around his neck. Now, we threw on it this afternoon. We ran on it. We did everything on it, but we didn't the other night. And as I say, it's pretty hard for get any type of an offense started if somebody in your backfield. Of course, first of all, you've got to establish a running game. And we didn't establish a running game. We didn't establish anything. And we had people open. We didn't get them the ball. And we really tried to throw more than we should have. We'd gone ahead and stuck to, and I'm second guessing myself, but against the 8-man line, and it was a 9-man line at times. But they knew what they were doing to start with, and they were giving us one look, and they would change that look, particularly the side we was going to, or we guessed wrong, but big thing, we didn't have any protection. We weren't holding people off our quarterbacks and giving us time to throw.
People are asking, is the wishbone the offense? Should you switch to the veer and get more passing?
The wishbone is the best passing offense there is, in my opinion, if you can beat a one-on-one. That's what you want. You go out and take a drop-back passing game and you work 4 hours a day on pass protection, and we probably should work. Normally, we don't work on pass protection. We put so much pressure on running that the pass protection takes care of itself. You work on reading the defenses, and then you pick up and see where Unitas played 15 years, and he'd misread it and throw an interception, and Stable is pretty fair, and Namath and they'd throw interceptions. But if you got that one-on-one and you have to hold somebody out of there, you can't have them around your neck and can throw the football and have good receivers, which we have, well, you can get them open. But
does everything depend on the first football game of the year, though, for your season?
No, we never. You can't put all your eggs in one basket because you got to play the next week, and Maryland is, I think, be the toughest opponent we have to beat. I didn't say the toughest team, but under the circumstances, they have 19 starters back, and they worked on us all spring. And Jerry Claiborne's a real fine coach, and he's a sound coach. But we can't call the schedule off if they beat us. And I recall back 1949, I think it was, we were picked to win the conference, and LSU was picked to be second, 2 points behind us, how the voting is done. And we were playing them in Lexington, And the year before, they beat every bowl team, the Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl, and Orange Bowl, about all the bowls in, and they beat each team that played in them, and had all their players back. And they came to election. We beat them 14-0, and I believe I'm right in saying they went something like 9-2 because they put all the eggs in that one basket. Oh, we're not going to do that. It's a big game. It's just another big game, and we're going to try to win it. If we don't, we got to start all over the next week. And I think good point on that too is, in one year we lost our opening game to Georgia, and went on and won the national championship. So one battle doesn't win. One victory doesn't win a battle. The war. So we want to win the war. Joe's had a real fine spring. Joe improved a whole lot. He's a much better football player than I thought he was as a freshman. And Ellis Beck's had a real fine spring. He improved a great deal. And Steve Dean started off, while you're talking about those young backs, kind of slow, but he's been doing well lately too. Another one of them. Buddy C's had a real fine spring. He made a couple of good runs that night. Used to pull the hamstring early in the second quarter. And his spring training is over. It was over then. We're going to have, good Lord willing, 2 practices. We're going to work the sweat clothes and try to learn what we're trying to do and try to work on some quickness and get them rested up. And then we're going to play another game. In all probability, well, we're going to put what we think's the best against the best and see if the offense can score all those points against the best defense we can put out there. But we're going to work in sweat clothes, but we've had enough real tough work. Plus the fact I want to do something that Wayne Hall and Jim Croft and some more injured boys can participate in. And of course we wore pads they couldn't. it, you know. A lot of scoring, of course. I think both teams they were trying. I don't know how hard they were hitting, but I think they were putting quite a bit of effort into it. I think they wanted to win, and each team coming from way behind, I think, was a plus. One team came from 17 back, I think, to go ahead, and then the other one had behind a couple of touchdowns. I thought all our backs ran well. Thought Scott was real sharp with his passing. And of course, Neb had some big passes too. Defensive, of course. Needless to say, we have a lot to do. They scored 79 points. I like to think that we get them all together, though, that it's going to be better than that. I thought our ends did much better than did last year in containing. As a matter of fact, the support from the outside against runs was good, I think. I think the only time they really got hurt on runs, with one exception, was when breaking through the middle. I don't know who played well. You couldn't help but see Surlis. I think Tom made a lot of plays, and I think Lanny Norris made a lot of plays. But we still have to do something about that 79 points. Excuse me? I saw Don back there some. I don't know. We see the film, Bodie will. I think possibly that team rushed the passer better. And I think they got 2 or 3 people hurt. I think Ken James got hurt early, which means that our protection of the passive end, we just had somebody in there that hadn't had much work at it, who, was that thin.
Well, thank you very much.
At quarterback, Joe Namath.
Our Alumni Association wants to show Coach Paul Bryant that we continue to appreciate him. You may have heard some of the rumors that he has neither confirmed nor denied that in recent months he has declined a very flattering offer to go elsewhere to coach. He has decided to stay here, and we're grateful. We have no way of paying him except through the warmth of our hearts. And tonight, the 90,000 alumni of the University of Alabama would like in a small way to show Coach Bryant a token of our great appreciation. Now, we have 2 or 3 little gifts that we've secured. What we have, among other things, away and bring him right back. This is not to make extended trips, and this is not to leave for good. We understand his baggage is getting in kind of bad shape. Last time I checked on it, he had an old trunk. He had a plow line wrapped around, and he brought from Arkansas over here. So, now, Coach Bryant, these are for you, and they go with it the warmth of our heart, and God bless you, and thank you for staying with us.
These, I don't mean little, but these tremendous gifts is not entirely a surprise to me. Man, Harmon told me Jeff called her and said they was going to give me something. And I told her, I said, well, I'll tell you one damn thing, they better not give me any luggage. actually, I accept those boots and keep warm gear because I need that, and I was hoping that they would give me that because they want me to work. Last September, after Dr. Rose left, I went on to talk to Dr. Matthews, and I said, I don't know how you do business, how you want to do business, anything, but I'm old and doty-headed, and let's go ahead and make some arrangements for me to get out of here, and, you know. And he said, well, we'll think about it, and we'll talk about it, and so on and so forth. Then back in January, after we'd been humiliated so many times, I was really thinking sincerely, and the best for Alabama, and you know me, you know that. I went on to talk with him again. He said, well, we'll talk about it. Well, a week or so later, I went over and I talked real seriously with him about it. And he said, well, you may be right. He said, but I don't believe that we can find anybody that can do any better than you can right now. And I'd mentioned some of my young people and so on and so forth. And I was kind of insistent about, well, he said, well, go out and find me somebody who can do better than you, and we'll do business. Well, needless to say, I couldn't find anybody who could do better than me.